A sound mind for the spirit of fear, a sound mind so that I can see clearly. Hi, I'm Kendra Milburn, wife of that handsome director of technology, always running around, and mom to Olivia, the next generation of Milburn singers. You may recognize us from leading contemporary worship a couple times a month. When Pastor Fritz asked me to speak about my change in vocation, honestly, I wasn't sure if I was the right person for the task. After over 20 years of working in and leading marketing departments and brand strategy, I'm on the job market. Looking at my current situation, I wasn't sure how to address a discussion about my change in vocation because I don't know the destination. But after prayer and contemplation, I have to give Pastor Fritz credit. There are volumes to be learned on the journey. My career has always been demanding and left very little space for exploration of me, of God. Sitting in and working through some very challenging feelings has given me clarity in many areas of my life that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work through, with space to contemplate stepping into the unknown. I want to walk you through this in phases. The first phase honestly consisted of a lot of fear. How? Why? This has to happen now. How can I be at peace not knowing the destination or God's timing to get me there? My approach to managing and mitigating that fear was a combination that's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember: music and prayer. For me, song lyrics can become a prayer, or at least start there. Phase 2, boredom. When work occupies 12 plus hours of your day, how do you fill that time on the other side? I read and I read and I read and I read and I read, but even that got really boring after a while. I needed to get out of the house. And this is one that I lean on when I'm feeling down, and it usually does pick me up. Being in service to others. How can I help ease someone's burden? So I helped Larry's M&M's class. I volunteered at our soup kitchen in the city. Thank you, Barbie Anderson. I started teaching music at our preschool. And it did help to fill my cup. Those sweet kids have breathed so much life into me, and I'm grateful for them, and April, the director of our preschool, for giving me such a beautiful outlet at a time I didn't know that I needed it. The third phase had me very much in my head, with real doubt and hypercritical feelings that I was wrestling with. My prayers got a lot more specific at this point. With all this space, I began to look back at my life and what had taken up my time. And I began to look at how happy I'd been. For maybe the first time in my life, I began to think about purpose, what that meant and what that meant for me. Your job does not have to be your purpose. But I started to think through what my purpose could be, and what if my job could be my purpose, and what if my job and purpose brought me meaning, fulfillment, and happiness. The fourth phase is one I'm emerging from. Happily emerging from, because it has been the most difficult and consuming mental and emotional work that I've ever done. God asked me to sit in my discomfort. He asked me to bring up those things that made me feel not good enough or worthy of love, and look at them, examine them, process them, and accept that His love is what makes me good enough and worthy of every blessing I've ever received and every blessing yet to come. I'm so grateful for this time. This was hard. All this weight I had not surrendered to God, who tells us in Jeremiah, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." I'm coming out of this phase with hope. Now, on the other side of all this work, I feel good about the way I can show up in my marriage for my daughter, for myself, and even have the capacity for more. So now here I am, all this time I spent engaging with God and with the church, praying, getting into the Bible, finding purpose, confronting pieces of me that I don't need to hang on to, and learning to surrender to God. I was surprised to discover the depth of community all around me, and friends that pour their love and support onto me and fill our time with laughter and love. A family that values me in more ways than as a provider and truly sees me. My purpose has helped me tap into new creative ways to express myself, be a helper, and connect with others. I'm working on myself. I'm working on things that fill me with joy and passion. I'm working on showing up more completely and with more tenderness with my family.
I'm reaching out,
A change in
I'll
vocation.
chase again.
I don't
dare
know the
you to
destination.
believe how much I
don't
love
need
you
to know.
now. Don't
He knows.
be afraid.
He's got me.
Your strength. We'll be walking on the water, dancing on the waves.